Wow, there really is no place like Knoebels. Hey everybody, this is Paul from the 125 Roller Coaster Challenge, and thanks for watching our first ever Focus On video. And what better way to kick off this series than with Knoebels Amusement Resort. So, what is the Focus On series? Well, that is our way of giving a full park review. In this video, we're not going to be comparing this park to that park. We're just going to be discussing Knoebels and what makes it so special. We are going to be rating its location, its rides, its food, its games, and everything there is to discuss about Knoebels. And at the end, we're going to give this park a grade. Just like with our Making the Grade series with roller coasters, we are going to be scoring each segment from 1 to 10. And when we are done, we're going to add up the scores and give you the overall grade. There are going to be 15 categories, so the grade range will be as follows. An A, which is a must visit as often as you can, is a score between 130 to 150. A B, which is gotta visit this park a few times a year, is 110 to 129. The C is, hey, you know what, we're gonna stop by once a year. That's a 90 to 109. A D, which is basically, we're gonna visit every once in a while, is a 75 to 89. And an E/F is don't waste your time. That means basically, we went there, we weren't impressed, don't come back. And that's a below a 74. So now that we have the breakdown for the park review, let's kick off the first category, which is location. Now, Knoebels is in the middle of nowhere. Seriously, it is really in the middle of nowhere. But that is not a bad thing. While most amusement parks want to be near urban areas, basically to draw in crowds, Knoebels is in the coal region of eastern Pennsylvania. It is a floodplain with rides. This is what makes Knoebels so special and so unique. This park couldn't exist anywhere else. There is no admission ticket, no main gate, no upfront pricing. This is truly a throwback to simpler times, and its location, while it is a challenge with no major highways or hotel chains, is a real asset to the park. Our score for location is an 8 out of 10. So when you are at Knoebels, you are fully immersed, which is really what visiting an amusement park should be all about. Now let's talk about the beauty of the park, and this is a 10 out of 10. You are with nature when you're at Knoebels. It is more like a walk in the woods than strolling through a large-scale amusement resort. You can always find a quiet place to enjoy nature, whether it's along the stream, back in the picnic rows, or even hanging out with the two bald eagles in the back. This park embraces its nature fully and is simply beautiful all around. Pricing is the next category, and again, it's a 10 out of 10. If you have seen some of our other videos on Knoebels, Knoebels is free to enter, and you can either buy a wristband for the day or purchase tickets to use for the attractions you want to go on. Also note that these tickets never expire, which is a very huge win. If you want to know our thoughts on which method is best, please check out our helpful hints at Knoebels with the link above. Either way, by having the option, that makes this category an easy 10 out of 10. Now let's get into the rides, and we're going to be starting with the kiddie rides. While you can find kids attractions throughout the park, the majority of them are in the back towards the right. They have a lot of classic rides like the Kiddie Boats, Pete's Fleet, the Red Baron, the Spanish Bombita, and of course the historic S&G Carousel. Heck, they even have hand cards if you need to help tire the kids out. Most of these kids attractions are fairly older, and even though they do have their own park mascots, there isn't a traditional theme like Looney Tunes or Peanuts. We are giving the kids section and rides a solid 8 out of 10 overall. Knoebels has always been a place for families, and their ride lineup shows this. Again, just like the kiddie rides, these rides tend to be more on the classic front, with Roto Jets, Cosmos Curves roller coaster, Teacups, a Tilt-A-Whirl, and of course the Giant Wheel. What makes this section score higher than the kids attractions, and being a 9 out of 10, is the rides that are the top of their categories. The Pioneer train is like no other train we've ever experienced, with its long track right into the wood. Their bumper cars are always winning awards for their aggressive feel, and let's not forget about the Grand Carousel that has won so many golden tickets that they actually had to retire the category. Alright, now who's ready to discuss some thrills? This category also has some classics, Looking at You, Flyer, Cosmotron, and Satellite, but they also add some modern thrills, like the Stratosphere, Fandango, Downdraft, and Tornado. The standouts in this category have to be their two water attractions, Sploosh and the Giant Flume, while the Haunted Mansion just celebrated its 50th anniversary. Another 9 out of 10 for Knoebels. Now for a bit of controversy. We have the roller coasters as the lowest score so far at 7 out of 10. But let me explain. They have a solid top 3, with Impulse being their steel coaster with a vertical drop, Twister being their huge wooden coaster with a lot of laterals, and of course the winner of the best wooden roller coaster in the world numerous years in a row, the Phoenix. These three are very good coasters, and it's very good for a park that's not owned by one of the chains to have them. Now, the reason why the score is this low is the secondary coasters. Flying Turns is a fun coaster, but it's never really worth the line. Black Diamond is a coaster in name only, with it having the look and the feel of a traditional dark ride. And mentioned before, Cosmos Curves is a standard kiddie coaster. Having those top 3, but only having 6 total coasters is why this section has an average grade. Okay, the rides are now done. Now let's talk about food. First of all is the food location, where we discuss the amount of stands and the different options that are available. And here we have a 10 out of 10. While there is food available throughout the park, the majority of the stands can be found in pretty much 3 areas. The main road, which is kind of like the midway, near Impulse and Downdraft. Then of course you have the food court area that's in the middle of the park, right near the Haunted Mansion. And then in the back of the park you have the 2 food pavilions near Phoenix and Black Diamond. Just having these food courts is more than enough for most parks, but where Knoebels excels is when you look at every section of the park. Even in the kiddie area, there are stands, with some of these stands being top-notch, like the Backyard Barbecue, the Potato Barn, and our personal favorite, the Wharf. Oh, did we mention the 2 sit-down restaurants that actually have a waitstaff? Yep, the Nickel Plate is on the golf course when you leave the property, while the Alamo always has a line to get into. Now that we talked about the options and the locations, how about the quality and the diversity of the food? You guessed it, another 10 out of 10. This food section is award-winning with their pork chop on a stick, and the entire international food court with food from around the world is another must-eat for us. And of course, there's the Dole Whips. They have a sampler of Dole Whips, which is simply huge. Finally, on this category, we can't forget about the Oasis, where they have daily specials during the week. They have all-you-can-eat spaghetti, all-you-can-eat fish fry, and even weekend dinner specials, which include meatloaf and barbecue chicken. Knoebels is the king of food, and is the standard that all other parks are compared to. Yes, even you, Disney. We are a little bit more than halfway done with this video, and if you like what you're watching, well, first of all, thank you. And remember that we drop new videos daily. So consider subscribing so you don't miss our latest video. And let's continue talking about the park review of Knoebels. A lot of parks have water parks now. But in the case of Knoebels, calling what they have a water park is a bit of a stretch. They have the Crystal Pool, and along with that they have 2 slide winders and twin twister slides. But there's a charge for these attractions. They also have a community swim lessons and a doggy dive throughout the year, but all in all, Knoebels kind of gets a 4 out of 10 on the water park category. While the water park is a low light, their games help soften that blow. They have Fascination, which is a mix of bingo and skee ball, where the crowds are sometimes out the door. They also have a Laser Command and a Playland Arcade, which are top notch. Throw in the mini golf and dozens of stands with games on it, and you can always find your favorite at Knoebels. Did we forget to mention that unlike other parks, you can still use cash to play? So this category gets a 9 out of 10. Something that we've been missing the past few years is actually shows at amusement parks. Yes, they are slowly coming back, but when it comes to Knoebels, they never left. They have music artists daily on their main stage and host numerous events throughout the year. Don't forget the daily kiddie shows throughout the day, and Knoebels has shows for everyone. An 8 out of 10 is the score because while the musical bands are nice, they tend to lean towards country, which isn't really my type of music. Okay, who loves to shop? If so, make sure you check out the video above, which focuses on all the stores at Knoebels. Now, while we don't want to go over everything here, notice that video is pretty long. But something that we love about Knoebels is all the new designs they have every year. Another 8 out of 10 here, with the only negative being the types of merchandise tend to be the same. You're going to be able to find a lot of t-shirts, mugs, and keychains, and even though they have different designs, it is kind of the same type of items. 2 more categories to go, with the next one being called, well, highlights, or something that makes the park unique. Can you say another 10 out of 10 for Knoebels? This whole park is different and unique. We also want to mention that they also have 3 museums on the property, a full 18-hole golf course, and an entire campground. Yeah, Knoebels is unique and a highlight reel all by itself. Last but not least is the future. Now, we all know that this park is not going anywhere, which we wish we could say about all parks. But in the case of Knoebels, this category has to do with the what's new every year. This park gets a 7 out of 10 because even though they make some changes and might refurb a ride every few seasons, the key to Knoebels is consistency. They maintain the amazing rides they have to help create memories that last for generations. So this gives Knoebels an overall score of 127, which gives it an overall grade of a high B. So we just gotta visit this park every year, if not once, if not twice, at least 3 or 4 times, which is what we usually do. Now let's face it, the lack of a water park was the determining factor as to why it didn't score an A. But if you don't care about water parks, then this is a must-visit park every year. So what do you think of our scores and the overall grade? Did we nail it, or were we way off? Have you visited Knoebels in the past? What are your thoughts about this amusement resort? Let us know in the comments. And thank you once again, and remember to like this video and subscribe as we ride to 125.